Hello and welcome to the top 16 of the Portland Materia Cup. On the top, we have Ryan C, aka Viridian, and on the bottom, we have Christopher W. And it looks like Ryan's going to be on Earth, Water, Chaos Arc, and Christopher is going to be on Mono Earth on like the Avalanche style build.
Absolutely, and we had a nice little handshake to start us off there. This is an interesting matchup. It's one I've played quite a few times. I don't know how much you've played it. It's definitely a little rough. The ceiling on the Chaos Arc deck is just so high, and the Mono Earth deck, on average, is not doing too much to interact with what the Chaos Arc deck is doing. So all we're really hoping to do with the Earth deck a lot of times is be very aggressive. So one of the benefits that they do have is they do have the Cloud that can give give haste to the board. That will kind of set him up into the right spot of being able to just kind of go as aggressive as possible. But of course, the Chaos Arc deck, littered with EXs, littered with removal, is going to be pretty tough to try to crack into here.
Yeah, and I think that in general, I don't know if I for sure agree with this take, but this is the way I've been looking at it is Mono Earth, I think once upon a time was like one of the best mid-range decks. I think it gets outclassed by a few things nowadays. But having the Avalanche side gives it the out of, okay, if you're going to get out mid-ranged, at least you can go for the OTK. So now you're like not just a mid-range deck, you're also a combo deck at the same time. So I think that, like, I played Mono Earth actually recently in Texas, and that was the main reason I played it. I actually don't really care for the Mono Earth deck itself, but because it had like a possible combo finish, you can do 7 damage to them in one turn. You can do 10 damage to them in one turn. That gave me
and
like
that 10 damage is honestly the kind of number you're gonna want to be looking for here, because there are so many bursts coming out of that Chaos Arc deck. There are 20 bursts in that list, 10 in the Mono Earth deck. So definitely just kind of loading up the board with some forwards and trying to get in as much as possible. And he was successful in dodging that first EX burst, usually the scariest one, but a Hecaton Kyre going to slow down his opponent from Ryan C. And to a Kryl to pick it right back up. So he says, I don't want you to ever get to the point where you're even going to be playing Warrior of Light. I am going to try to outvalue you here. And this is pretty much exactly what he didn't want to see from Chris's side. Swinging in, hitting the EX burst, getting the Thornton. This will pick up an Une. So this
at bare minimum.
Viridian's,
Viridian's
I was about to say, he's in a point where he's probably going to leave his opponent clear boarded next turn almost. Between the Une and a potential Hecaton Kyre, just really going to be packing a lot of punch on his opponent.
I will say too, and generally speaking, a lot of Mono Earth backups, they do something. Like ETB do something. Not like this Biggs, for example, it's not doing anything, so it's a perfect like bounce target for the Une. So outside of like Leatherwork,
actually, something that's even worse than that is they do have access to deck lists ahead of time. Viridian will know that the Wedge only has the one Biggs target in the deck, so bouncing the Wedge now turns it into a 4-drop do nothing backup.
Yeah, in this case that would be better, and then you can Hecaton Kyre the Jesse.
Exactly.
So we'll see if that's what he goes for.
And yep, we do see that Une. Yeah, we'll see if he remembers that there is only the one Biggs in the deck, so he can bounce this Wedge safely.
Oh,
no. So we are going to go for the Biggs,
and that to me means he's trying to blow up the Wedge. That's what that translates to me as.
Oh, still gonna go for the Jesse. We are going to defend with the Mist Dragon. I don't hate that we are doing that here, but I do feel like we are just running out of cards and card advantage here. Viridian does have one of his main engines in play for backups, did get that EX burst. If we don't cleanly answer this Une as soon as possible, we are in very, very dire straits. Unfortunately, Emmett Selk is only going to deal 8k upon playing a 6 or higher. So that is not going to be enough damage. I don't know if there's another way for him to get that extra bit of damage out to make sure that the Une does not untap. If that Une untaps, we are looking at a very, very rough game of attrition, and this is one that usually Chaos Arc will kind of take over.
I saw one line that was possible. We didn't go for it, but we could have searched for Ingus. So Christopher had 4 cards in hand before he played the bigs. Instead of getting Barrett, we could have got Ingus. It would have cost 4, but we discard 2 cards, play the Ingus, search for another card. We're pinging for 8 with the Emmett, and then you can LB Zach if he's playing the LB Zach. I actually don't know. Oh, he is not. But that was the only thing I could think of.
The one that I was thinking of requires him to have already drawn or have in hand the 2 CP Vincent backup. If he did have that, he could have tutored for Minfilia, played Minfilia if he had already like pitched the Vincent, gotten that, and then been able to combo kill this Une. But now that the Une has untapped, Viridian is going to be pretty consistently just drawing an extra card. This is going to also kind of leave a lot of protection on the table. So it looks like Viridian's going to opt for kind of cantripping here, getting the Mist Dragon, removing the break zone, but then also going to go ahead and get that card back. I like this option a lot. It does cut down a lot of options from his opponent. And he is going to hit Remora. It's great that he did do the Mist Dragon before damage. Now the Remora is a little bit bigger, is able to kill the Barret. The X burst, of course, you could not respond to, so making sure you had that extra card in hand to actually hit the Barret was pretty crucial.
Absolutely. And I spoke to Viridian about these Remoras in his deck, and he mentioned it's one of the best cards in his deck. So I'm actually kind of surprised because that card kind of came and gone in the formats that, you know, Soiree was played and then it kind of went away. But like it being a pseudo removal spell that draws a card, that's one of the best. Like 2-for-1 bursts are just like very, very good. And that's kind of what he's using it as here.
All right, so we are casting Hecaton Kyre. Looks like it was either Jesse. It looks like Jesse is going down. Once again, I feel like I kind of wanted to hit the wedge there. This does give his opponent the option to replay a Jesse. Maybe Viridian's okay with that also, though. Like, just playing a Jesse. Yeah, you tutor another card out of your deck, but you're forced to play more backups. If you're not answering my Une, I'm in a good spot. All right, and we see a quick change. Mist Dragon going for the brace zone, a Mist Dragon to protect it. And I feel like Viridian will probably pick back up a Mist Dragon in one of these next turns just to kind of pick back up that protection. Oh, no, we're just going to opt for continually
Maybe he has a third one.
destroying backups. Yeah. Well, that is also an option. So I believe Polk is still a target for Hecaton Kyre. Could potentially send Chris back to the Stone Age of only 2 backups in play. Probably will happen at end of turn unless something else happens. We are activating Ifalna. Gonna get some Earth Forward back into play. This will be interesting if he does have another Mist Dragon in
Oh,
hand. Nope.
that's the ultimate blowout.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So we did go Efalna trying to pull back this Warrior of Light and Arc to remove it. Hecaton Kyre on the Polk, and this is looking disastrous. All right, and still picking back up the Hecaton Kyre. I'm find it interesting we went for that instead of the Mist Dragon, given the fact that the Hecaton Kyre has no targets. But it may just be one of those situations where Green's just trying to play through. He knows his deck takes a good bit of time to win. Wants to go ahead and just quickly make some moves so that he can go ahead and get on with the next game potentially. All right, and Shantoto guy comes out. Now that is an effective answer. The Chaos Arc deck does not have a ton of forwards in stack, and it does not have any way of stopping that. The Leviathan, of course, only stopping auto abilities from forwards. So that one is going to resolve. All right. Interesting that Viridian is going to opt for just a free Chaos. Now that the Shantoto is in play, Chaos does become a 0-drop. And his opponent is top decking, and he has a Siren in play now. Right, and end of turn, we are going to cast the Kusith, get back the Tyro. Probably going to tutor in Une here.
That's my guess as well.
Yep, tutor in Une, bounce a backup. Probably the bigs. Get a couple of points of damage in. Oh, there is an EX.
I don't know what we're supposed to get here.
Vincent? Okay.
Well, we can't play the Vincent because there's a Vincent backup in play.
Oh, well, we can always break it.
Yeah.
At this stage. All right. Yep, we're reading over Siren. Gonna probably fire off that Vincent and see if we can hit it. It is a little awkward that the one Vincent would be interesting if we did fire. Oh, are we going for Vincent?
We are. We can't do it.
Is he tight? Yep.
It looked like he was trying to.
Yeah, it may be something that we forgot about here.
Yeah, he's gonna find out soon. Yep.
Yep.
Ryan points it out.
Unfortunately,
so I wonder what the play is then here. Surely it's an Emmett turn, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
unfortunately,
no.
Yeah. So those cards are going to go down. So this is why I would have hesitated to put pretty much anything in play without kind of clearing out our hand first. At least with the Vincent, we would have been able to answer the Siren. One of the interesting lines against the Chaos Arc deck is kind of just decking them. They do draw a reasonable amount, and they do go through their deck fairly quickly. If you can answer those forwards, you can potentially, stall them. And as mentioned, they really do not have very many. All right, it looks like Ryan is just passing.
Discarding per turn.
Discarding the hand size. Yeah, and as mentioned, if you don't have something proactive you're doing, there's no reason to kind of hold on to expensive cards like that in your hand. So it does make sense. And I think Chris has had enough. He knows next turn is his last. Gonna go ahead and scoop it up and go into game 2. So that'll give Ryan up 1 game.
I didn't count, but how many times do you think Hecaton Kyra was cast? 4?
I'm guessing 4. I believe what was my count. I didn't stick on it too tightly.
Yeah, and that's just knowing Viridian personally. I think that's one of his favorite cards, and this deck that he built is pretty spot on to the kind of strategy I feel like he leans into. And he didn't attack for a good amount of turns when he had the opportunity to, and I think that's a perfect example of attacking is not free. If you're already ahead, attacking can set you behind, and he didn't want to do that until he felt like he had the so he was so far ahead that it didn't matter as much if a burst happened.
That absolutely. I mean, the advantage of Une, like when he was still trying to draw up his hand, still make sure that he had full control over the game. I think this is the standard MO for Chark decks, where they do just want to make sure they have the game in full control before we make any kind of moves. And once again, we do see the same kind of start coming from Chris, going for the Barret into Wedge, potentially Biggs coming in.
What I do want to know is if Viridian has an Une, does he play it on turn 1 here?
I would feel pretty tempted. We like I mentioned before, we know our opponent only has the 1 Wedge,
right?
So that does at least stop him from replaying that from the deck.
I mean, you go get a Jesse and play the Biggs, but like the Wedge isn't worth playing anymore. So he gets the card back to his hand, but it's not a backup in play. So I don't know. It's just an interesting thought, and it's the threat of Une that Christopher needs to remove, or else you're just drawing an extra card every turn by getting back a summon, right? So just an interesting thought. I don't know if Viridian had it in his hand, but just something I think worth discussing.
I do also like the idea of like getting the 2 backups out, and then potentially casting the Une this next turn with the discount. I do think getting the discount is pretty easy to do in this deck, and that's pretty substantial.
Sure.
Another option can just be developing your backups, making sure you have the right cards. Going for the Rydia here is a pretty safe pick. He knows his opponent is probably going to attack into him because he does need to do that. But that does come with a pretty substantial risk, as we see with the damage to Thornton again from Viridian.
It's huge. And Calmia is an interesting choice.
I believe at this point that card is definitely going to just be used as fodder. I don't think it's very useful in this matchup at all. There's not any kind of like power reduction. I would not be surprised if Viridian just kind of sends that to the break zone this next turn.
If that's the case, he has a perfect hand, and it's going. Because that's like a waste of a Thornton, right? Like if that means I need nothing in my deck. That's what that translates into. And I will take the worst card out.
You have to tap for Earth. Yep, and Calmia is what he determined is the worst deck card. And I think that makes a lot of sense. He did have Shantota already taken. I feel like that could have been a card he could have at least grabbed and maybe held on to. He must already have some forwards in hand if he's not tutoring those. Clearly, we knew he had the Rydia already. Rydia kind of sets up the rest of his backups. He's going to go ahead and get an Ico, probably get the Arc into the break zone. Don't know if we'll be playing the Ico. Nope.
That makes sense too.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Wow, we really do, as you mentioned, kind of have a perfect hand going on here. Interesting that we did get the Hecaton Kyra. We didn't fire it off yet, so giving our opponent a little bit of chance to play off of this extra CP, but it's probably not going to matter in the long term. Potentially holding up like Leviathan or Kuchulain, even Anima could be more relevant. So,
and for those who don't know, this Tifa artwork, it's the same as the other 2-drop Tifa. It's the exact same thing. It's a promo from there's like a playmat that comes with it. So it's just search for a cloud, add it to your hand. This is that Tifa.
Yeah, and she does get oh no, she doesn't get haste.
No.
Okay, yeah, she pumps other attacking forwards. That's what it is.
Yes, correct.
At damage 6, she does get to play the forward she tutors as well, which is very powerful.
You see Christopher hesitating here, and I think it's because he's deciding, do I play Tyro or not? And that's actually a good question, because you know that Viridian has the Hecaton Kyre. So
I mean, he does have a Hecaton Kyre. I like this line. I think this is our potentially winning line of trying to get as much in play as possible, gain the haste, get everything kind of going. And this is where we'll see if Viridian does have a response to be able to kind of answer this board before he potentially takes 4 points of damage here.
Miss Dragon the Bracer.
Like we're gonna miss Dragon, so it could still be up to 3 points of damage.
No.
There's across.
They don't gain haste because there's no target anymore.
Oh no.
Yep.
Oh, I forgot about this. Yes. Yeah. So there is only one target on that ability. So.
Well.
Oh, and there's Remora.
I think. Did I just see that right? I think Viridian leved the cloud still. I don't think he needed to. I think he just wasted 2 cards.
Oh.
But okay, this is a little absurd. Okay, we did just have everything, huh? Yeah, so
yep.
Cloud has 1 target. So he chose the mode revive Billy Bob, give all his forwards haste. Well, if Billy Bob is no longer there, then I believe
the entire ability will fizzle. Yeah.
Yes. And then he left, and I don't believe he needed to leave.
Yeah, this is reminiscent of back in the day you played Diabolos and you target 1 forward. If they bounce their forward, they remove whatever forward beforehand. You will not get to untap your backups. Sometimes that was more powerful than. Like killing your own forward was better than them getting to untap all of their backups. So
yeah, and I think so. There is a weird-ish ruling with Cloud where with the Avalanche members. So let's say you have an Avalanche member in play and you play Cloud and you choose the modes, and if you get rid of the Avalanche member, you still get both modes. And I wonder if that was a little.
It was just there.
Yeah.
On play. However, an important thing to note is Cloud does not trigger if you do not have that job Avalanche.
Exactly. Either way, the EX Burst Remora also was kind of salt in the wound with the scenario.
Absolutely, yeah. It was kind of a flurry of blows were dealt to Chris in very quick succession. As I mentioned, I was like, "Oh, this is the turn that we needed," and then it all very quickly came crumbling apart. Chaos Arc very good at dismantling that. The Mist Dragon stopped the Cloud. The Remora eating up some of the board, and then Chaos and Arc coming out, finishing it up and finishing up his hand. Is going to leave Viridian in a very good spot. Gonna play something out of his LB here. So Luna Freya coming out. Gonna be digging potentially for, I don't know, an Une, the Siren perhaps. Could even take the Tyro. All right, Leviathan just wants to play safe at this stage. And interesting, we didn't attack here.
I think it's in that situation of there's no reason to. We don't want to like. Christopher has a lot of cards in hand, right? They both have a lot of
Yeah.
cards, and I don't think control is like I don't think the board's stable yet for Viridian. I mean, it looks like he's ahead, right? He has 3 forwards in play, but anything can happen, and bursts will
Yeah,
get him
it
further
could come
ahead.
crumbling apart pretty quick. We know his opponent has a Genova in hand. We will have to negate the Genova in just a second. Yeah, and if we were planning on using the Chaos anyways, obviously we're not attacking with a Chaos. I do find it interesting that we did not even want to go with the Barret attack to try to get a little bit in there.
Yeah.
Not too many bursts out of his opponent, and Barret is of course brave. So
See, this is the scenario. I think it's actually pretty close and even, right? But in this scenario, assuming that Viridian doesn't have a Misdragon, Christopher can OTK. Christopher can do that 7 to 10 damage.
absolutely, yeah. Especially with a
just
Misdragon of his own in hand, there's a lot of potential.
yeah. Emmett and Angus are just so powerful. Oh, okay, well there was a Misdragon. So Emmett and Angus are just so powerful, and Montleonising back Cloud is also just very powerful. Like there's,
I
it's
wonder if we
crazy.
are gonna fight for this or not. We're not. Okay. I I do feel like that there. It may not have felt like it was super impactful, but the Mistdragon on our side, I don't think Mistdragging against Viridian at this stage is going to be that relevant. Okay, and we are going to go for the 2 points this turn.
If he's looking at his break zone, that makes me feel like there's an Une in his hand.
Yeah.
Or okay, Kusith makes sense too.
All right. Well, that Mistdragon, holding on to that Mistdragon might have paid off for him if he fires it off here.
Oh, maybe we're not using it. Okay.
I'm kind of curious what Chris's line is here. Maybe he has some kind of additional plan. If it, like you mentioned, if he can go for some kind of OTK strategy, although this does give Viridian a lot of cards in hand and options. Specifically, we did see an Arc go to hand there and a discard to turn for the
Discarded a Chaos.
Chaos. And that's interesting because we left those 3 backups open. I was curious if we were going to do anything else, and now unfortunately we're going to be a really rough spot.
I imagine this has to go get Angus, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then maybe Angus for another Emmett and just go for it next turn. Maybe. Or maybe I think I saw a Riku. I could be wrong, but doing some Warrior Light stuff is what I was thinking. Oh, he discarded to play it. Interesting. So this to me means he's going to play another card with this Tyro. Or if he has a summon in his hand, he's holding it, is my guess. You decide to go get Barret. Yeah. I think we might have discarded and didn't need to. Because I think Chris has 4 cards in his hand.
Yeah, I definitely feel like we could just tap the Tyro there.
There is a Mistdragon still in his hand, and he's representing it, but I think we could have done that by discarding the extra card if we needed to anyways. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's,
we'll
it's
see
usually better to go ahead and save the card ahead of time. And this is an Ico. This is where not hitting the break zone that other turn is also going to kind of come back because Ico is also going to be able to go ahead and get something out.
Yeah, Ico actually counts.
Although I believe Ico counts remove from game
It
as
does,
well.
yeah.
She does. Yeah.
And it casts any summon from your deck, which is really backbreaking. Okay, Christopher needs something like this. The Tyro Burst. I'm guessing Ingus again. Ingus is just so strong. Molionis, okay.
Yeah, I mean, we can still set up for like an OTK situation.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the power of this deck. It's just like it can just do that at any moment. Okay. Christopher needs this. And this is the thing I was mentioning before with, you know, it's not free to attack, and if Viridian doesn't have a good defense in his hand, there's still a chance of him losing.
So what type of board do we exactly need out of Chris? So we pretty much we have Riku. We could go Riku, Warrior of Light. I mean, these aren't necessarily what we have in hand, but I'm kind of dreaming up our ideal scenario here of Riku, Warrior of Light,
Ingus,
some kind of Avalanche. Probably Billy Bob. He is Avalanche, correct?
Yes,
yeah.
he is.
So Billy Bob into Cloud.
I was thinking, so Riku, Warrior Light.
Oh no, I guess we have to Mont before the probably Mont into Cloud.
Yeah, that's the very last thing you do. So all you guys get haste.
Yeah. Yep.
But I think it's Riku into Warrior Light, get something back. Ingus, Emmett,
Billy Bob.
Likely, no, not yet. You bear it if you can for a Tifa or a Billy Bob. And then you.
I at this point, I think we're getting. I'm trying to stay reasonable given our hand.
okay.
Yeah, I'm not going for the if we had infinite cards. I think reasonable given how many cards he had in hand. A turn of Riku into Warrior of Light into Ingus into Billy Bob into Mont Leonis into Cloud is a lethal and very viable line.
Yeah. Which is kind of crazy to think.
Chaos coming out. Yeah, it is definitely crazy to think that was like still very much on the table for us last turn.
Does Viridian have 0 cards in hand? I think he does.
0 cards in hand. So this is it, once again that spot where it's like I almost feel like we could have taken off a turn as the this is an interesting line.
Yeah, okay. After this resolves, the first thing I'm doing? I'm counting how many cards are in each player's deck.
Absolutely. I think that is the spot we need to be looking at. And I don't know where Viridian's LB is at, but he did do an Ico and a Luna Freya, I believe. So he only has 1 left. Now, this is unfortunate. That is the top deck that we wanted from Viridian. Like, that is a crucial top deck there.
I see an Emmett was picked up, but again, we're short with 8K, right? We need to do a little bit more.
Yep. So once again, Emmett just not going to be able to pull it off against this Une, and this might start spelling the defeat for Chris here, unless he can, because we need to kind of rebuild up again now that we're so far behind. He does have a Mist Dragon in hand. He could wait and fire off that Mist Dragon. I would really like being able to do that against such an impactful discard pile. Wow. It looks like Chris has really bled through his deck. So only a couple of cards left. I believe Viridian is taking it. It looks like Viridian has about 10 cards in deck, whereas Chris is probably closer to the 8 count.
I do think that Chris needs to shuffle his deck, but
I was
sure
thinking
we'll-
that as well.
I'm sure we'll get to that. We're checking all the zones and all the cards.
Or maybe we're going back into our deck. Oh, no, we are playing the Mist Dragon. We
No?
did not
Okay.
shuffle. Okay. Yeah, there was a little bit of distraction there, but and the deck did not get shuffled, unfortunately. All right, Siren, another good follow-up for Viridian with one of his very few
Billy
remaining
Bob
forwards.
is also pretty interesting. It's Gizmont Leonis, right?
Yeah.
No. Oh,
Oh,
the Cloud. Okay.
Wow. I love that. Now, big question for you here. When we fired off that Mist Dragon, would you have tried to hold it for whenever Viridian was going to activate his Une, or would you have gone for it immediately like he did?
So if you wait, I don't know how many Mist Dragons are gone, but if you wait, you give Viridian the chance to draw another one to counter yours. So
I believe Viridian's at least been through 2.
Yeah.
It might be all 3.
if all 3 were there, then I would have waited. But if there were any left in
Okay.
the deck, then I think
That's your
firing it off's
deciding
fine.
factor.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also,
No, that completely makes sense.
also depending on like the quality of our hand, how many cards are
Mhm.
good and versus not very good. So, and if this game is a deck out game, which it might end up being, this Siren isn't really a threat because it mills a card, you know. So
Absolutely. But we do have to have something that like forces the target over and over. Emmett is good at that, but we do need to have enough critical mass of like 6 cost characters. I don't know exactly where it is, but another very important card in Chris's list is Neo X Death. Very relevant at this stage in the game. If Viridian does not have a Leviathan, that could spell almost certain defeat. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. So a fun and interesting thing about the Cloud, if we go for Cloud, we obviously don't want to target a forward, because if it does get negated,
then the haste doesn't happen.
Yeah, it negates the entirety of the effect. So
Well,
possibly
if you choose like Une, and then you
Oh,
choose a
okay.
forward in your break zone, then you get the forward in your break zone still. But
Okay, so we did go for Vincent, but Vincent does kill our own attacker here. I'm not sure if I'm crazy about
actually,
this.
maybe I'm wrong. Let me read Siren real quick.
Because as you mentioned, the Siren's effect is a not huge factor.
Actually, no, you're right. It would cancel the entire thing. So yeah, you would not want to choose.
Okay, and so he did go for the Vincent, tried to kill the Une, but the Siren's effect did protect it. We killed off our own Billy Bob, which is a little rough, and now Une pulling something back. Wow, and Anima is definitely going to start cleaning up board. Viridian intentionally pitching cards from
that's
hand,
the last
giving his
card.
opponent only 1 card in deck. That will wrap it up. That was well played on there for Ryan Chen. That was a very interesting match.
3? He had 3 cards left
3
in his deck.
was much closer than I as I was kind of saying earlier, I thought it was about 8 to 10 was my very quick math of
So they were
current cards they had counted previously.
They were even on cards because the Anima was cast twice, right? Or did Ryan draw any cards off the Anima? I don't.
No, I believe they were even on cards.
Yeah.
So, Chris, it was 8 to 10, but it was Chris's turn at the time when we were counting.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy.
So,
that was a sweet game.
Some interesting, interesting. That was one of those ones where I was almost holding my breath through some of those last turns. There were so many times where I really thought Cloud was going to kind of crack the game open and just get the haste. Definitely a big one in that first game where the Billy Bob did not get to come out from the Cloud. The Mist Dragon just stopped so much power. That definitely helped in that first game. I feel like Cloud was a huge deciding factor, but unfortunately could have been a deciding factor, but unfortunately he was kind of kept in check both of those games.
Yeah, and the timing, Viridian drawing Une right after Shintoto was cast, that was very good.
Yeah.
And then the Siren after it, the Siren being able to protect from the Cloud, and yeah, the fact that you were right, it does cancel both abilities, because if you play Cloud, it's one ability, right? You can Ama it, and it's all of it. So that is also kind of unfortunate. So it was like the ultimate protection there. Wow, that was really crazy. There was a lot of swings there.
Absolutely. But congratulations to Ryan, moving on, and congrats to Chris for top cut. And we will see you all in the next game in top 8.